To Tramily or not to Tramily? That's one of the questions we're going to answer today. Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. This is one of, again, a bunch of different videos that I would like to put out, kind of just giving some advice to other people who are planning through hikes of the Appalachian Trail, or really any other long distance trail. A lot of what I'm going to talk about today and hopefully in other videos will apply to any long distance trail. But today I want to talk specifically about hiking in a tramily, hiking alone, and then also hiking with family and friends, because those are the three experiences that I had. Most people in the trail community know what a tramily is. Tramily is two or more people who either meet on a long distance hiking trail and make the decision to hike together, or it could be two or more people who meet before the start of a long distance hiking trail and they make that decision to hike together. During my 2025 through hike of the Appalachian Trail, I experienced hiking with family, hiking alone, and also hiking as part of a 7-person tramily towards the end of my hike. I have some notes here in front of me. I'm not trying not to read from a script because that just doesn't sound natural to me. But I just want to refer to my notes from time to time to make sure I cover all the different areas. Starting a long distance hike like I did with family, with my wife Sarah and my sister Michelle, is a wonderful experience. You're starting the hike with people that you already know, you love, and you trust. And there's benefits to that. You know each other's strengths, you know each other's weaknesses, you get to share responsibilities and support one another. I really enjoyed that part of the hike. But hiking alone also has a lot of benefits. When I was alone, I enjoyed the time by myself. I enjoyed being alone with my thoughts, thinking about life in general and thinking about all things related to life. And I think there's a lot of value in hiking alone and having that solitude. There's also huge benefits to hiking in a tramily. Hiking in a tramily provides you with the ability to share resources. You have safety. You have one another to rely on if you have issues that come up. You benefit from each other's trail magic. I mean, usually in a tramily, there's somebody who has a family member or a friend or someone who reaches out and you get the benefit from that. Maybe you get trail magic, or maybe you get a free ride. You don't have to pay for a shuttle into town. But there are downsides, I would say, to each of those circumstances. And what are those downsides? Well, I would say when you start a through hike with family and friends, there's usually an expectation that you're going to hike the same daily or weekly hiking schedule. And I think it's important to communicate with one another before and during your hike to make sure that there's an understanding. I mean, someone in your group may be capable of hiking 20 plus miles a day, and then there's other people in the group who can't do that. So basically what that means is that people are going to have to compromise. And that kind of begs the question, should you even start a through hike with people who aren't at the same hiking level as you are? And I would say the answer to that, it depends. Sarah and I started the trail together. I have my strengths. I'm a better climber than Sarah. I can climb the mountains better than she can. She's better at the downhills. She's faster. She has a background in downhill skiing from the time she was young through her teen years. So she's able to go down the hills faster than me. I'm more careful on the downhills. I don't want to fall. But overall, we had similar hiking abilities when we started. And on flat trail, when there is flat trail, we're pretty much the same hiking speed. My sister Michelle, on the other hand, she wasn't at the same hiking ability as Sarah and I when we started the trail. She was very determined and she hiked our hike, but eventually she just ended up getting off trail. It wasn't something that she could maintain, adding miles, doing bigger mile days. And so she made the decision to get off in Hot Springs. I would say that if you're planning a long distance hike and you're considering starting with others, I'd recommend that you sit down with them and have a conversation about hiking ability and ask these questions and talk about it. And I think you should also sit down with them and have a conversation about hiking mentality. What's their mental state in this hike? Are they committed to completing the thru hike? Or are they really just interested in being on trail with you for a shorter amount of time, maybe a month or less? And then their plan is to probably get off trail. I think it's important to have that conversation and for you to know, because it's going to help you maintain perspective. Hiking alone has its own set of challenges. If you're a social person like me, you can get lonely. But, I was never really alone on the Appalachian Trail. There's always hikers kind of in and around you. Although this year it was weird. There were a lot of days where I didn't even see another hiker all day long. And there were other days where the only people I saw were either a section hiker or a day hiker. And I went sometimes days without seeing other thru hikers, which I thought was strange. But unless you really choose to be alone and avoid speaking or making contact with people, you're never really alone on the trail. So for me, when I did get lonely, connecting with a hiker or two and hiking in and around them for a couple of days was usually enough to kind of meet my needs for my social connections and kind of recharge me. Hiking as part of a Tramily also has its challenges. I would say the biggest challenge of hiking in a Tramily is compromising. Deciding what time you get up in the morning, the number of miles you're going to hike that day, where you're going to camp that night. Those decisions all become group decisions. And so you don't have that same ability that you have when you're hiking alone to just, I think I'm going to sleep in today, or I think I'm going to do less miles or more miles. You can certainly do that. There are no rules for staying with your Tramily every single minute of the day as you hike. And in fact, many members of Tramily will generally maybe pick a lunch spot that they're going to meet at some point during the day, or they will pick a shelter or a campsite at the end of the day, and they're just an understanding that you'll meet there at the end of the day. But then other hikers, as part of Tramilies, stay together throughout the hike during the day. My Tramily did a little bit of both. I personally enjoyed all three experiences: hiking with family, hiking alone, and hiking as part of a Tramily. But overall, I would say that I most enjoyed hiking alone or with other hikers for a shorter period of time. But my experience is unique to me. I will share with you that I do suffer from anxiety, which is in part due to working in a law enforcement career for 30 years. It was one of the reasons why I wanted to thru hike the Appalachian Trail. I was hoping that experience would help me deal and process some of my past traumas. I know that my anxiety can lead to relationship problems. And for me, being part of a family was fulfilling, but it was also stressful. But I don't regret it at all. In fact, it was one of the best parts of my thru hiking experience, was being part of the Over the Hill gang. I loved it. I would say if you're preparing for a future thru hike, you need to take some time to think about the various hiking relationships that you might experience. What sounds appealing to you and what doesn't sound appealing. And once you start your hike, I think the most important thing would be to keep an open mind. If you keep an open mind and you listen to what the trail is telling you, it will provide. And that's about all I really have to say about those three things. I wanted to keep these videos short and to the point. What are your thoughts on hiking alone or hiking with a Tramily? If you have an opinion or a question, please leave a comment below. Again, I'm going to hopefully do some more videos on some various different topics. I hope you enjoy them. If you have a specific topic that you'd like me to talk about, just leave a comment below and I'll do my best to put something out for you. I appreciate you all very much. Thanks so much for watching. Good night.